Airtable can build tables, fields, interfaces, automations, formulas, and it can even process your data for you using AI. Let's check it out. Welcome back. I'm Zack from InnerDev Solutions. We help businesses streamline their processes using custom no-code tools so you can focus on what matters most. To learn more, you can visit our website, innerdevsolutions.com, or use the link in the description below. Within Airtable, you can use AI and you can use it in a few different ways. And they seem to be constantly improving the way that their AI is built into their system. There's a tool within Airtable called Omni, and that's what allows you to actually use and build systems within Airtable. For example, you can create full tables, which also includes fields and sets the field types and names and all those types of things directly on the data side. You can build interfaces, you can build automations as well, and each of those work relatively well to varying degrees at this point in time, depending on what you're looking for specifically. But one thing that I've noticed and can build really fast with is building the different tables. For example, when I create a plan ahead of time on the data model that I'm going to build, even if it's on an individual table, I can write out the table that I'm trying to build, all of the different fields along with the field types that I want. And then instead of then going into Airtable and creating each of those individually, I'm able to take that, throw it into Omni and say, create a table or create multiple tables with the linked records and so on, and be able to quickly build out those tables and the field types. Quite often it does take a little bit of editing after the fact, but because I've already put in the legwork when I'm planning out the system, that way it avoids having to build it twice, basically. That's something that I really like, building out the interfaces as well. I personally like to build custom based off of what I'm looking for, but it actually does do a pretty good job on the interface side. If you're not quite sure what you're looking for, or if you even want to have some ideas on what it is that you're trying to build, you can just prompt it and it will build something for you. Now, that being said, I'm going to jump into this and show you what I'm talking about with Omni, and then I will touch on the field agents in a moment and just high level what that is. It interacts with your data on a record level basis, and I'll get into that shortly. To demonstrate how Omni works within interfaces, I'm just using one of Airtable's templates, so they already have a bunch of interfaces pre-built. And what this does, again, you're going to have to make sure that you enable Omni or enable AI to be used within your workspace, and you can do that within the workspace settings. What we're going to do here is open up Omni on the left side. Once it's enabled in the workspace settings, you'll have different options down the side. There's specific settings that you can work with. You can create a new chat, and then you can see all previous chats. Settings just lets you add some custom instructions, but we're going to jump right into it. I'm actually going to use this pre-built prompt for us. We can just tell it to build an interface and tell it the type of interface we want it to build. But right here, there's create an interface page for opportunity to track and update deal stages and values effectively. Sure, let's give that one a shot. And within a minute or even less, it will build out this view for us. I'm just going to hide the chat here on the left and go into the preview mode. And that way we can see this is what AI built for us. It's an opportunities tracker using the gallery view type. It's done a pretty good job from here. We can come in and make edits to customize it even more. I'm in a fresh base, and on the left side, again, we can open up Omni. And what I'm going to do, you can see that it's identified that I've clicked the status field. I actually don't want to do anything with that, so I'm just going to clear it out. I want to look at the entire base, tell it to create an invoice table. And if I wanted, I could provide specific fields that I want it to include as well. For this, I'm just going to send this. And again, within a minute or so, it will create that table. This is the invoice table it built for us. We can see it's got the invoice number and client name, dates, due dates, amounts, statuses, and all those types of things that would be relevant towards an invoice table. And again, it's going to provide a better output if you're specific on the types of fields that you want it to include. Overall, Omni is a really good starting point to get building the tables, the fields, and even the interfaces that you're looking to build. If you're a little less familiar with what you're trying to achieve, it will give you some good ideas, and it will speed up your build process if you do know what you're looking for. So really quickly, I'm going to show you the formula feature. I change this to price, and now this will likely exist on a line item basis, the actual invoice table. But for the purpose of this tutorial, you will understand what I'm looking for. I'm just going to change this to a number field, type in quantity, add one additional field. It's going to be a formula field type, call it total. And here we can create formula with AI. In our case, this is really simple. It's just unit price times quantity. But if you did have something that was a little more complex, this actually works really quickly to be able to build a proper formula. And it came up with unit price times quantity, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And it actually did add a description here for us as well. Create field, and we will go 25 times 2, and it totals 50 here. Again, a very simple formula like that, you probably will not need to use the AI, but something that's a little more complicated, if you need to use if statements or really anything else dealing with arrays, can do a pretty good job. Now we're going to jump into field agents specifically. There's a few different ways to go about doing this. The first thing, if I click this plus icon to add a new field, I can see that there is some pre-built field agent ideas. I can click build a field agent to customize the field agent I'm trying to build. And then we can also browse catalog. I'll come back to that in a moment. One other thing that we can do, depending on if that field type does work with the AI field agents. So for example, status does, and we can see when we create a new table, automatically adds in this attachment summary field agent as well, so that if we did add in an attachment here, it could summarize it for us. But if I go double click on status, we can see at the very bottom, this will indicate whether the field type is compatible with field agent. It says automate this field with an agent. It means it is, so we can convert it to an agent if we wanted to. If we're in a project management system, we'll probably want that to be manual and base that off of to do in progress done. But let's say that we were logging customer support requests or tickets in this system, and we wanted to categorize that support request. That would be a great use case for this status field. And if I click this plus icon, we can actually see that here, categorize assets. So that would have a pre-built prompt for us. Open up this plus icon. I'll click this build a field agent and drop down here. So we can see these are all the different field types that are available that work with the field agent. So long text could be anything from summarizing data or looking up and researching other company data or extracting details from a PDF or an attachment of some sort. Then we got the single and multi-select, and I just touched on that, how you'd categorize different support tickets. So really categorize anything in that matter. Number, again, that could be for extracting information or extracting values from a certain attachment. And that's the same for all of these. Percent and currency. You can generate images with the different AI models that are available. And I believe this one is actually only related to OpenAI's models. And there's this web prototype, which personally I have not used at this point in time. Add in a single line text, and we'll just call this company. And then here I'm going to type in Apple, hit plus icon, research company, and we can choose the model here. I'm just going to leave it as 4.1. We will enable the internet search. It's already got a prompt written for us, which is just do an internet search of the following company to gather publicly available information, specifically what we want to see within this field. And then down here, company name, I'm just going to clear this, hit this insert field, and we're going to add the company field, which is right here. I'll hit create field, and now we can see it's actually going to search the web for us, and it will generate this report or two. We can open it up and we can see the research report that it provided to us. This is quite neat that it happens directly with an Airtable. Now, last thing I want to touch on is just the browse catalog. I'll open that up and we can see that Airtable has a bunch of pre-built prompts and agents already here for us. You can check your different use cases and categories, and there's actually some suggestions based off Airtable AI's understanding of your base. Now, in this case, mine has very limited data, so the suggestions may not be that good. But if you have a lot of data within your database already, then it may have more accurate suggestions. But if we scroll through here, there's lots of different things from analyzing call meetings and producing documents, generating content, research companies, research people, all those types of things. And again, you can build customized to your own needs as well. That's it for this video. Just a really high level explanation of the Airtable AI options that are available. And again, I've seen these improve greatly over the last year and even the last few months. It keeps getting better and better. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for more videos in the future.